This is who I'm telling you what, the Democrat Party is a shrinking and dwindling hate group. That's literally what they've become. And, I remember the reason why I say that and why I think that this is an important point. Back early in my career, when I was still learning about all this, when I was wet behind the ears and naive, up until the time I started this radio show, nobody that knew me ever thought I was a hate monger or a racist or homophobic or sexist or bigoted or any of that. Nobody. Because I'm not. There wasn't. 6 months after being on the radio with this program, I'd become all of that. And I remember, don't want to mention names here because these people are still alive, but I remember a prominent conservative media figure talking to him about prominent liberal media figures that he knew, that he liked. And I questioned him, how can you trust these people? I mean, no, they're good guys, they're good guys. In fact, one of them likes you, says you're not a hater. And I was supposed to be thrilled to hear this. I was supposed to be mollified. Some liberal media figure had just pronounced I was okay because after he had listened to me, he had determined I wasn't a hater. And I did not take that as a compliment, and I got kind of mad, just like I did when Al Gore, vice presidential debate in 1996, Bob Dole is the presidential candidate for the Republican side, and Gore and Jack Kemp, VP candidate, have a debate, and Gore tells Kemp, you're not like the rest of your party. You're not a racist, Jack. And Kemp said they thanked him. Yeah, well, the way we look at it, Limbaugh's not a hater. Of course, that's out the window now. They all think the opposite. They are the hate group. The Democrat Party, that's their fuel. That's what energizes them, is their hate. And for them to sit there and act like they're the most compassionate and tolerant and peaceful and understanding, it's just a bunch of hogwash. The American people that voted for Trump are hated. The Republican Party is hated. Alternative conservative media is hated. George W. Bush, Ronald Reagan, Donald Trump, take your pick. They are hated. They are not opposed. And I wish an even bigger percentage of the American people would figure this out. The American people running around thinking that all the hate and the racism and all these other isms are located on the Republican Party side. The Republican Party has been over backwards, not even criticizing Democrats in hopes that people wouldn't think they're what the Democrats say they are. While the Democrats go out and behave that way times 10 all the time, every day, and never get called on it. But they are the hate group. They are the hate party. They are the people that literally thrive and subsist on it. And you can see it. You can see it in these protests. You can see it in these so-called acts of dissent, which are nothing more than riots. Last night on CNN, there was a debate, Ted Cruz and Crazy Bernie, on Obamacare and getting rid of it. Crazy Bernie was great. We didn't even need Ted there. Ted was great. Don't misunderstand. But Crazy Bernie told them, why Obamacare was worthless and horrible and we should get rid of it better than any Republican ever could. Anyway, this is now moving into the Pocahontas, the Elizabeth Warren being silenced by virtue of the invocation. Senate Rule 19 last night, while there was another one of these Democrat all-nighter debates trying to destroy and prevent the confirmation of Jeff Sessions. So Bill Hemmer talked to Cruz on Fox this morning about Elizabeth Warren being silenced. I'm getting a little ahead of this only because there's something Cruz says in this bite that I want to amplify. Bill Hemmer said Elizabeth Warren was asked to conclude her remarks based on the maligning of another U.S. senator, that being Jeff Sessions. A few years ago, Senator Cruz, you were criticized by some Republicans for going after Senator McConnell on the floor of the Senate. Is this different or not, Senator?
The Democrats are angry and they're out of their minds. You know, we're seeing in the Senate Democrats objecting to every single thing. They're boycotting committee meetings. They're refusing to show up. They're foaming at the mouth practically. And really, you know, where their anger is directed, it's not at Republicans. Their anger is directed at the American people. They're angry with the voters. How dare you vote in a Republican president, a Republican Senate, a Republican House? What many of the Senate Democrats are taking the lesson of this election was that Hillary was too moderate, and they need to go more Elizabeth Warren, more Bernie Sanders, more extreme and on the fringes. I think that's really unfortunate, and I think last night you saw that with Elizabeth lashing out at Jeff Sessions and really lashing out at the American people.
And that is the point. All of this unrest and all the riots and all the protests, that really the anger is it all of you who voted for Trump and voted for Republicans. That's really the nub of it. They're angry at Trump, but Trump wouldn't be there if it weren't for you. They are angry. They feel rejected. The American people, and I've already told you how they think of Trump voters. They think Trump voters are uneducated deliverance types. You're fools, you're idiots, you're uneducated, you're unsophisticated. You're just an embarrassment. You're American embarrassment. You voted for Trump over Hillary, and they're outraged. And Cruz is exactly right at you. I want to take a brief time out here, and from there we will go into what happened with Elizabeth Warren on the floor of the Senate last night, because I think there's something bigger at play here with the invocation of Rule 19. It wasn't invoked just to shut her up last night. I think it was a test run and a trial run for something else. Details coming up. Okay, folks, we're going to grab a phone call here, because if I don't do this and I get started on this Warren stuff, that's another half hour before I get to the phones. And I just can't do that. I mean, I give out the number, I invite people to call, and then to not take the calls and not go there, that's rude, that's impolite, and I'm not that. So we're going to start here. We'll do the Pocahontas stuff in the next half hour. I'll get started. I'll get it all in here. But Steve in Omaha, you're up first today, sir. Thank you for waiting, and hello.
Absolutely, Rush. Wonderful to talk to you today.
Thank you, sir.
Two things that I was thinking about here, listening to all the hate and all the things that are going on that they're coming up with. Number one is, as far as all the hatred and all the things that they're spouting, when you're trying to drain a swamp, the people that are going to scream the most and yell the most are going to be the rats that enjoy living there. And I don't see that as any kind of surprise at all.
Exactly. I mean, and then they're not going to stop screaming.
Oh no! Matter of fact, really the second point I think is that all this is going on because how do I say it? This has been going on for an awful long time. The fact that they're doing this, they're not going to pick and choose, their battles. They've dug their heels in. They're gonna disrupt as much as they can for as long as they can.
Okay.
The strategy that some people describe to I think McConnell or whoever in the Senate of having Sessions vote be last so that he could still vote on all the others was brilliant, but don't let down the guard. This is something that is not going to stop. They're going to keep it up, and if they relax, then you just can't coast. You can't say, okay, now we're past that.
Well, that's, of course, a lesson learned over countless years' experience, guided by intelligence. And we all hope the Republicans see it the way we do, and we all hope that they maintain a stiff spine and so forth. The experience is that they haven't, so that's what everybody's guarded about. But you're right; they're not going to go away. The real thing here, though, is it is hate that is fueling them. Now, hate, folks, it's like I said yesterday, when you talk about making everybody a victim, which is what the Democrat Party has done. Every voting remember, other than the elites in Hollywood and academia, but the rank and file Democrat voter is also filled with hate, whether he's on the protest march or not. And it's because he has accepted the victimhood status assigned to him by the Democrat Party. And when you accept that you're a victim, that's a very personal decision. I mean, somebody can call you a victim, but you don't have to accept it. You don't have to act that way. But when you choose to, when you've made up your mind that you are a victim, you have given up all hope for happiness. You can never be happy. You can never even be content. Those two things don't go together with victimhood. Then you add the hate to the victimhood status that these people have willingly adopted. When you're a victim, nothing's ever your fault. It's always somebody else's fault, in this case, the Republicans. And so you have been told to hate them and blame them, which is a loyal Democrat you've done. So you have roiling, churning emotions that a bottle of Tums every day is not going to even touch. You are just boiling over with victimology and victimhood and hate, precluding happiness, precluding enjoyment, precluding and eliminating any chance for contentment. And you have to keep that up because you are forever going to fail as a victim. As a victim, you have accepted that there's nothing you can do about what is happening to you. It is always somebody else's fault, and no matter what you do, you are consigned to whatever miserable life that you have. And so you talk about 30-40% of the country that is this way. Why would it subside? The ingredients for never-ending miserableness, unhappiness, and hate are fed to you every day by the people you respect and admire. Elected Democrats and the media and pop culture and so forth. So, yeah, they're not going anywhere.